Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about mountain bike riding gear and how you could protect yourself out on the trail, different decisions that you can make for your ride, and how to stay protected while doing so. If you want to learn more, then just keep on watching. Now we're going to jump into some ride footage where I crashed pretty badly in the wrong gear, and I'm going to explain myself and tell you how you could probably protect yourself a little bit better than what I did on this day. It should help out new riders, anyone who is progressing into bigger stuff, and really anyone who wants to be more safe and maybe listen to some different experiences and insight to learn a little bit more and help their riding a little bit more. So let's jump into the ride and you'll be able to see what happened. Hope you enjoy. So we're going to be talking a little bit about ride gear and why you probably shouldn't be wearing XC Lycra in most cases, and clear up some confusion if you're a new rider or beginner that is not sure what sort of gear you should be riding as far as protection goes. And this all starts from experience, my own experience. I'm riding Lycra here, and I went on a big ride, so I decided to wear my XC gear for the ride because it's a lot more comfortable in the Florida heat. But then I kind of ran into some problems, as you could watch in this clip. And it was at that moment that I knew I had messed up. I had put in about 20 miles on one of the hottest days of the year in Florida. And immediately after this ride, we went directly into free riding and hitting Indigo Flow, D2, and hitting the bigger table line out in the Vortex pit area, which luckily I came out unscathed on that because I was really peaking at the point where I was hitting D2 and those tables with the guy in the beginning of the video who is more of a free rider. He makes those jumps look really good, and well, I'm just getting comfortable on them. So yeah, luckily nothing happened here. I wasn't seriously injured, but I did, hurt myself pretty bad, and let's talk about how you could probably avoid that. Now, I've broken this into areas of interest, and the first being riding environment. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you're just going straight XC bro, then I think in Florida especially, the Lycra and cross-country style kit is the way to go. You get way more flexibility and movement on your long rides, and that just equals comfort, especially whenever it was as hot as it was this day. I think it was like 100 and something degrees and the sun was just beating down. But really, I think that XC gear has a place to shine, and if you're not planning on hitting jumps or anything like that, which it is hard to resist if you have some free ride background, then yeah, I completely support the wearing of Lycra. But if you're going to transition into free ride immediately after putting in a lot of cross-country miles, the least that you can do is bring a set of pads and a change of clothing, because you should really be wearing enduro or downhill style stuff, long sleeve moto style jerseys, and knee pads, shin pads especially. Just because you're confident on the jumps doesn't mean that your gear is going to be confident as well and protect you whenever you're hitting this big stuff. Now, for reference, I am from Florida, but having ridden in the mountains enough to know what I'm expecting out of the mountains and what I'm expecting in Florida, I would consider Ocala Vortex area one of those higher risk consequence places that wearing enduro gear is acceptable in Florida. There are other places like Alafaya and Carter Road where enduro gear is acceptable, but for the most part in Florida, you could get away with wearing XC gear and not have a lot of consequence to worry about. And by acceptable, I don't mean that you shouldn't wear enduro gear if it doesn't make you comfortable, but at these trails in particular, there are actual features that could really warrant wearing them and protect you if you were to fall. And that segues into our second topic, riding style and skill level. Now, if you are riding like Brandon here, hitting these tabletops and just whipping out huge, you could probably get away with riding anything in just knee pads. And like I was saying earlier, as far as acceptable attire, I don't mean that by if people are going to accept you at the trail. I mean if the trail warrants that sort of attire due to its features. Places like the mountains, this is Cayuga in particular, you could probably get away with a full set of gear just because there's so much different terrain and so much that could go wrong that wearing a chest protector, elbow pads, anything like that, I would say is highly acceptable. And the weight penalty or comfort while riding isn't going to impede you on this style of trail because you're going downhill. You don't have to do too much effort in putting in power to have a fun time going down this, whereas in Florida, you are really powering yourself, so anything that impedes your comfort or speed is going to change the amount of fun that you could have on the trail. So if speed is your only goal, then wearing Lycra is probably your only option, but if you want to have fun and do a lot of different style riding, then Lycra probably isn't the best option. Now let's talk a little bit about pedal choice, clipless or flats, and what sort of pads could protect you the most in different scenarios riding either one of these pedals. On my stump jumper, I am rocking the Mallet clipless pedals from Crank Brothers, and having ridden flat pedals in the past, I could say that I don't have to wear shin pads anymore because, well, my foot doesn't slip anymore and I'm not going to get any pedal strikes from my pedals. Now, if I do go down like in the clip that I showed you, having knee pads is really important, and that's why I would definitely recommend wearing knee pads if you're rocking clipless pedals and going to hit free ride lines. And on the contrary, if you're riding flat pedals like this one-up pedal that I actually ride on my single speed hardtail, I would recommend a longer shin and knee pad protection to make sure that you're not going to get any crazy shin strikes. And last, and probably the most important thing to remember here, is to watch your fatigue levels and make sure that you're riding smart. What do I mean by that? Well, if you just rode 2 hours of cross-country trail style riding, then you probably should just hang up the bike and not even jump into a free ride session. What I've been doing recently is setting out on my goal for the day and not straying away from it, whether it be a big cross-country ride or a day of free ride. I don't mix them, and I try to stay focused on just one style of riding per day, and that way I don't end up having issues or creating injury for myself for no reason, and not listening to my fatigue levels and tempting myself while riding in the wrong gear.
You all right? I mean, if you want to go to the car, I'll come back for sure. I just don't, if you think you'll be in like better shape for sure, you won't want to leave. All right, let's go. All right. Yeah, I got like 30 minutes left in me.
So let's finally break down this clip and really watch what's happening here. I go into the run really confident. I'm not thinking too much about having an injury or a crash. I'm riding really good up until this last jump, and then I try to go for something that I really shouldn't be doing. This is a one-hander, and my thoughts before actually doing this were that I wanted to try to do a no-hander, and well, I didn't put any practice into that thought. I just went out on a limb, and there were so many thoughts in my head. I was already fatigued to the max. My head felt like it was spinning, and by the time I got to the jump, there was just so much confusion about what my body wanted to do that I hesitated for that millisecond that changed the outcome of that jump. And well, the moral of the story here is if I would have taken the advice that I just told you in this video, wearing the right protective gear, not riding at full fatigue level, choosing the proper equipment and riding style for the day, then I wouldn't have this injury that lasted me a little while. Now, again, I'm really lucky that the back injury wasn't more serious. I didn't have to see anybody for it. It just kind of healed over the course of a week. Now, the scary part is that there was a slash right in the middle of my spine, so it made me realize how important it is to protect yourself when you're doing these things that you take for granted. Now, I know I'm capable of these things and I'm confident on them, but when that confidence slips because of fatigue levels, or I get injured because I'm not riding the proper protective gear, then that's not anybody else's fault except for my own. So take my advice from experience and move forward with it and use it in your riding to make sure that you don't have any serious injuries in the future due to just a small choice that could alter the outcome of the day. All right, we're back in the studio from that ride and that crash. Luckily, this was a couple months ago now and I'm feeling better, but it was a big crash. So if you're somebody new to the sport, or you're going for bigger, more progressive maneuvers and jumps, then make sure you learn from my mistakes, because this was definitely something that I could have avoided had I just left before I was on the downside of my peak, and I really think that's the reason why I crashed. So yeah, if you're a new mountain biker or somebody who's progressing more and more, then this stuff is information and insight from somebody who's been doing it for a while now, and I've been doing it in all different realms. So hope it helped you out, and if it did, that's great, you're welcome. If you want to help out the channel, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you like my videos. And don't forget, if you are a subscriber, then hit the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I upload videos. It's not always just strictly mountain biking, so if you are just a strictly mountain biker, then hitting the notification bell will actually help you out, because then you could kind of see what I'm uploading, and whenever it's mountain biking, you could click on it. I make the thumbnails pretty easily readable and understandable for what's going on in the video. I do a lot of other bike stuff, and well, it's a bike channel, and that's kind of what I do here. So don't forget to go out there and create your own adventure however you can. Spread some positivity. I'll see you on the next one.